Happy New Year! And if you've seen us do this before, you know plastic doesn't clink. All I'm saying. But I'm Doug.
And I'm Kathy. And Maggie May is back napping.
She wants to be ready for the ball to drop tonight.
That's right. That's right.
She loves ball. Join us as we follow the moon. We wanted to go through today and kind of recap what all has happened for us, the good, the bad, the ugly in 2022, and give you a little idea of what's ahead for us in 2023.
And what a year it's been.
It has.
Yeah.
And I know the first thing you said was all those miles.
Yes, all those miles.
So just to give you an idea, a little bit of nitty gritty on our year. We traveled 9,466 miles this year in the motorhome, not counting the miles on the car when we got to our destination.
That's right.
We traveled in 27 states, and we used just over 1,000 gallons of diesel this year. Now, when you put all that together, we averaged in a 39-foot diesel pusher coach pulling our car for every one of those miles. We averaged 9.7 miles to the gallon.
We're pretty happy with that.
Very much. Our cost per mile for fuel and DEF was just over 54 cents a mile. And one of the reasons it stayed nice and low like that was TSD open roads. If you're using diesel and you're not on that TSD program, you need to be on it right away. We will have a link in our description to show you how to get started on that. But TSD open roads on 1,000 gallon of diesel saved us $595 in cash.
The other part of that is I actually had some of my grandchildren say with our gas prices, how bad is this? Remember, it's a conscious choice, and this is our home. This is what we live and travel and enjoy.
Yeah. So rather than paying it on a mortgage and paying it on utilities and all that, ours went to fuel and lodging, so to speak, for the campgrounds.
That's right.
So we'll get more into campgrounds here in a minute, but that's the miles part of our year. Now, I know we've been to a lot of new cities this year, some new for me, some new for you, and some new for both of us.
Absolutely. A lot of new cities. And every time we go, we're doing the videos, so you guys are going to be seeing those, or you have seen them. And wow, we just saw so many great places. We also saw a lot of really cool nature.
Yeah, it's some unbelievable places. The amount of waterfalls in the UP of Michigan just kind of blew us both away, I think.
Caverns and caves.
We the Great Lakes area was just amazing. There were so many places that were new to us, and then on the other side of that too, like St. Louis, I'd never been to, and we have always kind of heard some sketchy safety concern things with St. Louis and other large cities like that, and we felt safe there the whole time. We had a ball.
Absolutely.
In St. Louis. So Kansas City was great. We hit quite a few major cities as we went, and
yeah, we did.
They were great.
Yeah. So we also saw a lot of gorges and rivers and lakes.
And if you've been watching our videos, you've seen a lot of those things. I think one of the water places that probably impressed me the most was Charleston. The harbor in Charleston, South Carolina, was just fantastic. That video will be coming up here in the next week or so. But our adventures on YouTube continue on for the next few weeks. We're just a few weeks ahead in our filming. So we're settled into the warmer times in Florida right now, even though our videos are in North Carolina. But we're coming down the coast rather quickly. So.
I think we did figure out that we are water people.
Yeah,
And I know we've said that before.
which is odd. I'm not a swimmer. I I'm not that attracted to the water, but there's something about being near the water.
It's so calming.
Yeah.
And just it makes you, especially the Great Lakes and all, it makes you feel so small. It's one thing to see the ocean, but then to see a lake that you just can't see the other side of either.
You know, within a few months of each other, we saw pictured rocks up at the north edge of the Upper Peninsula, and just a few months after that, we're seeing the turquoise green waters of Key West.
That's right. That's right.
So we've kind of gotten to see the range of it this year, and hopefully if you've been following along with us, you have too.
We also did some new experiences. And for me, that was actually taking up a little bit of kayaking.
Mm-hmm.
And so I have kayaked on a beautiful lake, and I've also kayaked out in the ocean. And that was really something new. And I can't say it was ever something that I had on a bucket list, but that it was something new that I experienced, and I really, really love it.
Yeah.
Now, speaking of bucket list,
Mm-hmm.
what do you have to say about bucket lists?
You know, there's been places we've both had on our bucket list, pinned on our Google map, whatever, that we've always wanted to see, and many of them have been spectacular.
Yes.
There's been a few of them that I won't say I was necessarily disappointed, but they maybe didn't live up to my grand expectations.
You know who it makes me think of is what's his name in the Vacation movie, where he puts his arm, Chevy Chase puts his arm around his son at the Grand Canyon, and he goes, "Let's go." You know, it's that kind of a thing where you get there and you're going, okay. But along the way, when we go to these places, we uncover some of the most amazing. Sometimes it's just a drive-by sign on the side of the road, and you're just going, "Let's come back to this tomorrow." And that was Cave Point.
Yes, Cave Point.
Yeah.
Actually, this picture,
There you go. Yeah, that was awesome.
Cave Point was up in Door, just outside of Door County, and just phenomenal.
But there's so many places that we have never heard of that you can't put on a bucket list, but boy, if you miss it, you've missed a lot. Now, speaking of places that you've missed, sometimes you miss things in your own backyard.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. We traveled back to Ohio this year, and I grew up and spent the first half of my life in Ohio, and an hour and a half away from where I lived is Hocking Hills State Park. I've always heard about it. I had never been there.
And that place has everything, and we've got a video on that too.
But that one made such an impact on both of us that the next time we're back in Ohio, we'll be back at Hocking Hills.
Especially because we know that there was so much there that in one day we couldn't see.
That's right.
So you have to go back, and that's happened with a lot of these places where we went, that we had planned a day, maybe 2 days, and that wasn't enough.
Now, just to give you one more dose of stats, I want to talk for a second about campgrounds. And we have a couple of campground memberships, and I kind of broke this down kind of for our own amazement, but I wanted to share it with you too. We spent 91 nights in regular paid campgrounds, privately owned campgrounds. Those 91 nights were the bulk of our camping expense for the entire year, at $4,074. It averaged $44.78 per night. Private campgrounds, sometimes you have to do that because of where they're located and where you want to be located. But $45 a night is a darn sight higher than where campgrounds have been in the past, and I'm sure will be lower than where they'll be in the future. Some of those did include weekly rates. Some of them did have some park discounts that way, but that's just regular retail camping. We had 4 free nights, if memory serves me right, 1 Walmart and 3 Cracker Barrels,
And those are fun too.
They were outstanding. We had one of the nicest yards we've ever had at a Walmart.
Yeah.
That's another story for another day. But we also belong to Coast to Coast, and Coast to Coast has a $10 per night charge. Some of the parks charge additional amenity fee, or they'll charge you extra for 50 amp, things like that. We had 43 nights in Coast to Coast parks, in very nice Coast to Coast parks,
yeah.
I've got to say.
Absolutely.
Nice resort type parks.
Yep.
Those 43 nights were $730 or $17 a night. So that really helped the RVing budget. But what really made the biggest difference, the other 227 nights were Thousand Trails and Encore parks. And taking what our annual dues are for the Trails Collection Plus and the Thousand Trails membership, we did pay extra for 50 amp when we were at Lake Tawakoni in Texas. But with those all together, 227 nights, $1,561, $6.88 per night. That's what makes it to where we can afford
Yep.
to
That's
live
right.
this life full time.
That's right.
And so that ended up, for the entire year, our lodging was $6,466 at $17.71 a night. That's not a bad way to live.
No, it's not.
And that included your utilities, included everything.
The beauty of all this is the opportunities to see friends and family.
Mm-hmm.
And we did, a lot of our pins on our map were directly in line to be able to visit people that, whether it was family friends or family members or old friends. And that has been one of the driving points of us doing this lifestyle, because it's such a big United States out there, and so many of our family members are stretched out across that we can't just expect them to come down on a weekend. We can't go there unless we do this lifestyle. Mm-hmm. So we did a lot of visiting very special people. With that in mind, I had a brother who said, it's really important that we all get together, because at our age, you never know when it's going to be the last time. And it turned out to be the last time. So, when you are traveling like this and you do have a tragedy come up, you learn to figure out how to make that work. And for us, we started out in one state. When he first got sick, we had moved to another state. When he passed, we ended up going to the closest city, and I flew back for a week to spend, or was it a week, to spend with the family during the funeral. And then Doug had to move the motor home, just him and Maggie as his co-pilot, to a third state. And he came from that state then to pick me up at the city where he had left me off. So these things, you do have to work them out. And
it's the same sort of thing. If you're living in a sticks and bricks, you know what airport you're going to use.
That's right.
Ours, we just had to figure out which airport we were going to use. But these sorts of things happen whether you're full-time on the road or not.
That's right.
You just have to sometimes think about them a little bit differently.
That's right.
The other thing about friends and family on the road is we have met so many friends.
Oh, yeah.
New friends this
Yeah.
year on the road. We met a couple in Red Bay when we were there in the spring getting our annual service done. And hi, Debbie and Bill.
Yeah.
And they ended up seeing us when we were down in the Keys. That's coming up in a few weeks too.
That's right.
And Debbie took Kathy out kayaking down there. I now look for Alpha Golds on the road. You know who you are. And one of our favorite evenings I think we had of the entire year was we were sitting around a campfire just as the sun was going down after 10 o'clock at night
Yeah.
in the UP with three other great families. And those are the things that those are the extra things that we pack in the motorhome every time we leave a campground and take with us.
That's
They'll
right.
always be along with us.
Absolutely.
Speaking of new foods this year.
Oh my goodness. Well, I have a favorite, and I've been telling everybody ever since, but this started in Waco. What's her name?
Chip and Joanna Gaines.
Joanna got me started on lavender. I just turned 70 this year, and I never in all my life knew you could eat or drink lavender. So, and people are going to go, where you been? I always thought they were just those little sachets you could stick under your pillow and it helped, smelling them would help you sleep. But you can drink and eat it. So we had, she has lemon lavender cupcakes and lemon lavender or lavender lemonade. I'll get that right. Then the next time I saw it, we came across up in Door County. Up on the end of the peninsula is a little island called Washington Isle. We found a lavender farm up there, and they had lavender macaroons, and those were great. And then around down into Frankenmuth, Michigan, came across an ice cream shop that had lavender lemon ice cream. Oh my gosh, how many times did we go back there?
2 or 3 in a week.
And then we get down to St. Augustine, and there's a lavender shop there, and she's got, and I told my daughter, I said, did you know you can eat lavender? And she goes, one of my favorite things is lavender hot chocolate. So in this place in St. Augustine, they had lavender chocolate bars. Those are really good.
Then the Cape May, was it? You found the macaroons again down at the southern tip
that's
of
right, in New Jersey. Yeah.
So, yeah, it's been a lavender year for you.
It has been.
We also had pasties.
Yeah, I never had
Michigan.
pasties. That's right.
And guys, we have to mark this one on the calendar. We made it through this much of our life and had never been to a Waffle House.
Yes.
But Yemassee, South Carolina, right out in front of the park is a Waffle House. And come for the food, stay for the show. That's all I'm going to say. We had a ball.
It was a lot of fun. I couldn't believe we've never been to a Waffle House. But, and I always thought of the Waffle House, I thought of little tables around like you go in any of these other places, and really set up at the bar, because that's really where it's fun.
So in that vein also, too, there's been a couple of health concerns this year.
Yes.
I ended up with COVID the first part of July. We, at that point, canceled our travel direction that we had going on up into Maine. We kind of regrouped and took it a little bit easy for a couple of weeks there, and kind of got back into the spin of things. If you've seen the video on Banfield Veterinary Services, we've had some health issues with Maggie this year. She just had her 7th birthday here in December, and she's strong and healthy and has a clean bill of health now, but
it's been a rough year for her.
Yeah, a little surgery and a couple big doctor's visits, and
a little step back to when we changed our direction. We don't know what we missed, because we had planned on going up into Maine, and I know there's going to be some great things up there. But in changing our plans, we did go to so many places that we wouldn't have been able to, and again saw people that we wouldn't have seen. And
we ended up at Garden of the Gods in Illinois that we weren't even planning on going to. We ended up through Hocking Hills in Ohio.
That's right.
I have an aunt up there. I was able to see that wasn't on the list of stops for this
and
year.
And your friend,
a very good friend from high school that's up there. Hi, Ted.
Yeah.
And that we got to see a lot of things.
And I think Virginia.
Yeah, that's right.
And that's where I started kayaking.
Which was in Kentucky. Her friend's name is Virginia, just to clarify. But yeah, so that took us in other directions than where we had originally planned.
But it doesn't mean that the journey was over. It just means we stopped and started over again, and went to a lot of great places that we hadn't planned.
And I will add, at that point, it was the first week of July. We canceled all of our remaining reservations for the year, and we were able to book all new reservations with no issues. Um, we never ran into, until Florida for this winter season, we never ran into any issues with being able to get into a park.
That's right.
Some of them with very short notice.
Yeah.
So we had one travel from Ohio to Pennsylvania that we didn't have. We had one night in between, so we thought, well, we'll just do a Cracker Barrel or Walmart. It ended up being the Walmart stay that we had, but where we stayed was right where the Flight 93 Memorial is, so that was an added bonus that we weren't counting on.
And as we got to the East Coast, the historical relevance was just incredible. All the way up and down the coast. It was amazing. Just it was mind-blowing. So
My point with all that is, even out of things that seem like they're hiccups,
yeah,
good things come of them. And one of the things was the coach. Out of the entire year and almost 10,000 miles of driving, we had 2 issues with the coach this year. One was I was in an area where the water was a little bit deeper than where I probably should have went, but I had no choice than to go through it. And within a week, our controller for our steps, power steps, had shorted out and quit working. Had gotten water up in it, and we thought we smelled something burning one night. Couldn't figure out where it was. I ended up and got under the coach, and when I wiggled the wires, they smoked. That's not a good feeling.
Yeah.
So we contacted Tiffin. They next dayed a step controller to us, and we were on our way. We actually found that out the second day of a 2-week stay, so we had plenty of time to get that fixed. We also had an issue with our AquaHot heating system, which we weren't using for heat in the summer, but we were using for hot water. And we got the wrong part sent to us, sent it back, got the right part, then couldn't find a service center. And we ended up and found a service center halfway between 2 parks we were staying at. So we left the one a little bit early, a day early, stayed at a Cracker Barrel that night, just down the road from the repair place. And they had us up and running in no time. So
we spent our time there walking around this lovely lake.
Yeah, nice little park.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
You take those things and you turn them into something that's a positive
That's
memory.
right. That's right.
So that's what it's all about, guys.
Absolutely.
So one new thing to our channel I wanted to mention to you, we have in the last week or so added new playlists. And if you haven't checked out our playlists, this is going to make it a little bit easier for you to find what you're looking for. We had a campground playlist. Now we have a special one for 1,000 Trails. We have a special one for the Encore Parks. We have a special one for Coast to Coast. We put all of our videos into folders for the year. So the 2022 videos are all in one group. The 2021 videos are all in a group. The travels are all segregated that way by year, and I've also got them in by East Coast, Middle America, and West Coast. The West Coast one is still empty, but not for long. That's all I'm going to say.
That's right.
So, what else do you have that you would like to add?
Well, the only thing that I can think of that we didn't talk about was archaeological places that our history, everybody thinks our history is not very old, and that you actually have to go to Europe to see archaeological, real old stuff. And you don't have to. A lot of times it's in your backyard. And I mean backyard here in Florida, backyard up along the coastline here on the East Coast or in the Midwest. And we're looking forward to some out west too.
Yes.
But there's a lot further older history in the United States and the Americas than people realize. They don't have to go to Europe to see it. I mean, I'm not taking away from anybody who goes to Europe. That's great. But don't discount what we have here. in our country.
It's always been on my bucket list, and I've always been one of the ones saying, if you want to really see history, you want to see old, you have to go to Europe. Boy, have I changed my tune on that. We have learned so much and seen so much just in this short period of time. And
if I want to see old, all I got to do is look across the table.
Mirror?
I'm just kidding.
Okay. Well, we want to leave you with where we're headed. And 2023 is going to be an exciting year. And I'm not going to give you a lot of details on it because we only have the details secured through the latter part of March at this point. But I will tell you, we are going to be wintering in Florida. That's where our family is down here. And once the weather starts to break, we are headed back to Red Bay for our annual service on the coach, as we always do. And then we're going to keep going west.
That's right.
So there will be a lot of new experiences coming up for 2023 on this channel with us. And we hope you come along with us and sit back and enjoy as much as we are.
That's right. Well, here, let's fill these back up.
Oh,
mine's really low.
Yours must have a leak in it.
I think there's a
or
hole
something.
in there. You can tell she's had too much already after that last comment, right?
Well, I will say this is the fourth take now. Is that?
Yeah. It's the second bottle.
And I'm very discerning about picking out our champagne. This matched the outside of the coat.
That's right.
So guys, we want to thank you. We have had, it's not all been a bed of roses. It doesn't matter if you're full-time on the road, if you're living in a house, if you're renting an apartment. Nobody's had 2022 be just a perfect bed
That's
of
right.
roses year. You deal with it and you go on. You make
Yes,
the best.
life is what you make it. It's not what happens to you, it's how you deal with it.
And, with that, we've had overall an incredible year. We have learned, we have grown, we have seen things that we wanted to see for years, and we've seen things that we never knew existed. And we hope we've been able to share those things with you. If there's things you want to go back and look at, check out our playlists. They really will help you find the type of content you're looking for. And
we
go from
also
there.
hope that we've inspired you to not be afraid to just go do, if it's just for a weekend or for the summer or for 6 months or for however long, do it whatever way. It doesn't have to be a big motorhome. It can just be a camper. Just go out there and see what's out there. You cannot buy any physical thing that is more important than experience. So
that's exactly right. So with that said, we want to thank you for following along with us. If you've liked the video today, leave us a thumbs up. We appreciate it. And if you want to find out what all is going on in 2023, be sure and subscribe to our channel and ring that little notification bell. It doesn't cost anything to subscribe, but that way when you ring that bell, you'll know when each and every one of our new videos come out. And we are trying to keep up the 2 videos per week and keep some entertaining things coming your way.
that's right. And thank you for following us as we follow the moon.
Thanks for watching today.
If you haven't already, please subscribe to our channel.
And be sure to ring the notification bell so you'll know when new videos come out.
Don't forget to follow us on social media too.